Hi, my name is Linda, and I'm the author of Filtered, a book about choosing your words with God as your mouth guard. I've decided to create a series of videos related to the 10 chapters of my book. So if you want more information about my book, please see the link in the description below. In the first video, I'm going to be looking at why we hurt each other with our words. The first reason that I want to delve into is feeling inadequate. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said something to someone and later regretted it? If so, you're not alone. We all have done it. And this can be very devastating, and sometimes it's because I feel inadequate, so I say something to you to make myself feel better or think it will make me feel better, but it doesn't, you know. And because I'm feeling inadequate, because I'm comparing myself to someone else, this can cause me to then say something that's hurtful, because I think that, okay, this person is doing better than me at something, or is like succeeding where I'm failing. So I ended up saying hurtful things without considering the effect of my words on that person. Secondly, another thing I want to talk about is belittling and demeaning others in order for you to feel good about yourself. Actually, this is the whole reason why I wrote my book, because I've worked in environments where I was belittled and demeaned and bullied by my bosses, and I know exactly how that feels. And a lot of the time, people will do that in order to, because they think that if when they do that, by making you look bad, it will make them look good, or they'll feel better about themselves by making you look bad. And usually it's people who are narcissistic who will do this, people who have a low self-esteem and think that they are better than you. So because they don't want you to appear as though you are better than them or you know more than them, they will belittle you, they will demean you in order to make you feel like they need to put you in your place so that they can always come out on top and be superior. And it's important that all of us learn how to articulate what we're feeling. If you're feeling inadequate, and whether it's because you are threatened by someone, or when I say threatened, I mean like when you think that somebody is better than you or does something better than you, or they're succeeding where you're failing, instead of putting them down with your words and saying hurtful things, rather find a way to express what you're feeling, but without hurting the other person's feelings. Secondly, the reason why people hurt each other with their words is because you feel like there's just some people who have a lack of inhibition. What do I mean by this? These are people who have no filter and have no consideration at all for the feelings of other people. And this can be due to a range of reasons. The first thing I want to talk about is that when people do this, people who lack inhibition, is because they want to undermine you. Okay, so in other words, you are you've either done something that they can't, like I alluded to before, and because they don't want it to seem like you are better than them, they will undermine you and say something that makes other people have a negative view of you, so that they can come out smelling like roses, so to speak. And usually they will justify what they're doing by saying that they're just speaking their mind, because we live in a society and in a culture where we're told that you must just speak your mind and tell people off, and if you need to express yourself, and don't let people walk all over you, and that is not what I'm talking about. I'm really just talking about the fact that it is important, yes, to express what you're feeling and express what you're going through, but you don't have to do it in a way that is hurtful or that undermines or makes somebody else feel belittled or demeaned. So one thing I want to ask you is, do you want to be known as someone who's always causing strife? Because there are just some people who their sole goal in life is to cause problems and strife. So I want you to ask yourself, is that the kind of person you want to be known as? And it's important that, and an important thing about this is that you need to learn to have self-control, and know that where you can't just go around saying what you want and hurting other people with your words, but you must always think about how would you feel if the same thing was said to you. So it's important that if you do find that you tend to have a lack of inhibition and you just tend to speak your mind without consideration for the feelings of other people, that you really reconsider that and find another way, because it's really not about what you say, but how you say it that matters. Thirdly, I'd like to talk about childhood trauma. Some people have experienced trauma growing up, either from their parents or from being bullied at school by their teachers or other people that they've interacted with growing up. This is when, so basically what I mean by childhood trauma, this is the intentional, when you were intentionally harmed or mistreated by people. And usually it would be your primary caregivers and people who are supposed to be taking care of you. I think one thing that has really become a silent killer is childhood bullying, not just in schools, but it's also possible that your parents bullied you. And also, if you are a parent, ask yourself, are you bullying your children? Because a lot of the time we will say that no, we need to toughen up our children, and so we treat them badly and we say all sorts of things to them, without realizing the impact that our words are having on our children. And some people are just abusive, either because they experienced abuse themselves growing up, and instead of having learned from that, they are now repeating the cycle of abuse. And this bullying can happen whether it's physical, emotional, or otherwise, So, it's important that if you have been bullied as a child, whether by your peers or your parents or other people in your life, that you find a way to overcome those feelings. I'm not saying suppress your feelings, but find a way to really overcome and learn from that experience so that you don't repeat the same mistakes in the future. Another issue is the issue of neglect, because there's some people were neglected by the people who were supposed to be raising them. In other words, they were not properly cared for, and when they were being raised. So basically they had to raise themselves and figure things out for themselves. And because they didn't have proper guidance from their caregivers, they then end up treating other people badly and thinking that that is how they get what they want, because they were not taught or disciplined by their parents in terms of how they need to interact with other people. I just want to close off by saying that you may not have control over how other people treat you, but you always have control of how you respond. So even if somebody does hurt you with their words and says something hurtful to you, doesn't mean that you need to respond in the same way. It's always important to remember that when somebody is speaking to you and they're saying hurtful words to you, just respond to them in a calm voice, but just respond to what they're saying, but don't respond back with the same attitude and the same tone of voice, but rather just remain calm and respond to what they're saying and not how they're saying it. Yes, mention to them that you don't appreciate what they're doing and that you do not want them to be speaking to you in that way, but remain calm, because that by remaining calm, you then have control over yourself, and when you remain calm, the other person will then hopefully deflate, and then it won't get out of hand. Before you go, do see the 2 links that I've included in the description below on how you can get a copy of my book, Filtered: Choosing Your Words with God as Your Mouth Guard. If you do get it on Amazon, I would appreciate it if you left me a review. Otherwise, you can order it directly from me, and I'll make sure to send you an autographed copy. The links are both in the description below the video.